Artreach presents ENCORE at Home, Enhancing Accessible Experiences in Arts and Culture, featuring the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society.
Hello, I'm Nicole Juday Rhodes, Director of Audience Engagement at the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society, and I'm going to speak with you for a few minutes about flower shows and specifically the Philadelphia Flower Show. Philadelphia is home to the largest indoor flower show in the world and the largest flower show in general in the country. Each year, it welcomes 250,000 visitors, typically the largest event in Philadelphia, and it's estimated to have an economic impact of $60 million a year to the region. This photo is of a recent Philadelphia flower show, and it shows the spectacular display of many thousands of spring blooming flowers, along with architectural elements like this bridge, bedecked with flowers as well. Professional designers play a large role in the show, but so do home gardeners, including in Horticourt, in which non-professional plant enthusiasts enter their carefully grown houseplants, like the succulents of varying sizes and shapes seen here in competition. Each year, over 5,000 entries appear in the Horticourt in hundreds of classes, all vying for a blue ribbon. But where did flower shows come from anyway, and why do we like them? The earliest iteration of a flower show that's known is the Florist Feast of the 18th century in England. At the time, florist had a different meaning than it does today and referred to someone who was an avid enthusiast of potted flowering plants. The plants they exhibited, such as carnations, dianthus, and auriculas, are ones that produce variable seed, and florists' feasts were one of the most significant ways that new varieties of these kinds of plants were developed before going on to be popular and commercially available. This photo of container-grown flowering plants in various stages of growth represents my imagination's take of how these plants would have been so carefully nurtured by their owners, who were typically tradespeople involved in pre-industrial revolution jobs, such as working with tin, weaving, or mining. At the time, hobby gardening was considered to be a pursuit only of the most wealthy and leisured, and florist feasts were one of the few ways that people with less means could participate in organized horticulture. The first American flower shows were held the same year in Boston and Philadelphia in 1829. This black and white rendering shows the front facade of the Masonic Hall, which then stood on Chestnut Street in Philadelphia. It was a one-day exhibition featuring flowers, fruit, and vegetables. What's best remembered about this flower show is that it was the first appearance of the poinsettia in North America. The poinsettia, shown here in this botanical illustration in full flower with its huge red bracts surrounding tiny flowers, is native to Mexico and through trade had just been introduced to America. One way that 19th century flower shows were different from those today is that fruit and vegetables were as important in these exhibits as trees, shrubs, flowering plants, and floral designs. This image is from the 1940s, but based on descriptions from the time period, would have been very similar to how edible plants would be displayed, with turnips arranged in attractive towers, spheres of radishes suspended from overhead, pyramids of perfect cauliflower, and a color wheel of various types of peppers as a hanging backdrop. PHS gave prizes for the largest, most bountiful, and best tasting crops like apples, grapes, and pears, which certainly sped the development of varieties that were best suited to southeastern Pennsylvania, increasing our ability to produce enough fresh food to supply a rapidly growing population. Although gradually the flower show became more focused on ornamental plants, an emphasis on showcasing food growing had a resurgence during the pervasive food shortages of World War II, when people were encouraged to plant victory gardens and displays such as this one, an attractive arrangement of edible plants displayed under a sign identifying them as having been grown at the Philadelphia County Prison Farm, were held as examples of how growing food was a sign of patriotism and an act of national security. Throughout the course of its existence, the flower show has taken place in every type of weather and regardless of what may be happening in our city and the world. It's believed that the only time the flower show ever went on hiatus was during the Civil War, a point at which PHS found itself too broke and the public too distracted to mount a flower show. But 2021 will go down in history as the first time in 192 years that the show is in an outdoor location in response to the public health threat presented by COVID-19, making it one of the first major events to resume after the onset of the pandemic. This is an artist rendering created before the show was staged, showing how this large outdoor public space would be transformed into 15 world-class acres of gardens, floral displays, and a marketplace, all brand new. And now we know how it came to be.
Support by Independence Public Media Foundation. ASL interpretation by Hands Up Productions. Special thanks to Nicole Jude Rhodes from the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society, our deaf talent James Caverly, and the Virginia and Harvey Kimmel Family Education Fund. Learn more at www.art-reach.org.